We mentioned Donovan Mitchell a second ago, and I told you to hold off on those thoughts because we're going to do a whole Donovan Mitchell clip. But over the last couple of games, it's not been a stellar week and a half here for Donovan Mitchell. In the 2 games against Oklahoma City, you alluded to it before, but he had 19 total points on 6 of 31 shooting. Against individual matchups against Lou Dort, he was held to just 3 of 13 from the floor. But if you look past just the OKC game, Steve, take 296 full here. His last 6 games, Donovan has been struggling a bit. He's averaging just 17.8 points per game on 39% from the field and 34% three-point shooting, which are both big drops from his season percentages. He had 8 points against OKC. He did have the explosion against Indy on Tuesday for 35, but 19, 11, 19, and 15. And we talked about this in the preview for it yesterday, but Steve, you take 298 here. His shots at the rim and the amount of times he's getting to the rim this season are much closer to his career low than we have seen in the past. And this was before, we didn't update this after last night, but this was before last night. I have the updated numbers I'll just share with you now, but his field goal percentage at the rim has dropped down to 56%, which is actually lower than his career low, and his attempt of shots at the rim is at 22%, so tying his career low. So Donovan at the rim finishing, this has been his least efficient season of the year. And Steve, you can take the next one, his 297, his buckets against OKC. You'll see him miss a couple easy bunnies, as G alluded to earlier. He had the knee injury last season, which he hurt on a free throw. It was tendonitis in the knee. He took a couple weeks off to just rest and recover. He never had surgery on it. It was just told that time would heal. Dustin, Jay, I'm not sure if you guys get the same sense, but I'm curious. And I'm not saying it is. I'm just curious because the eye test kind of matches the numbers. That maybe the tendonitis is bothering him a little bit, and the explosiveness just isn't as high as it has been in the past, and that's part of the reason we've seen such the decline in terms of efficiency at the rim and the increase in the step-back threes and the step-back mid-range jumpers that Dustin and G alluded to before. I'm not saying he's not playing well. Donovan is still playing at an all-star and close to an all-NBA caliber level, but the finishing is a legitimate concern at this point, down to 56% at the rim. And if he's not getting to the rim and finishing at the same level we've become accustomed to, that takes a major, legitimate end-of-game scoring option out of the equation for the Cavs.
Well, if he's banged up right now and he's got the tendonitis, then you rest him and you manage it. Like, I don't need this to be an issue in the playoffs. I know we're trying to fight for the number 1 seed and have the home court all the way through the playoffs, but, like, that's not going to get it done in the playoffs. If this knee is bothering him, guys, then the doc's got to manage this.
Yeah.
G, hold on. He hasn't come out and said.
No, I understand. You're speculating.
I'm just trying to put some perspective and figure out what's going on.
I would be curious because this is one of my stats that I look at and people may think I'm crazy. How many dunks does he have this year?
I can find it. Hold on.
And is that number higher or lower? Where is that in the pantheon of what he normally does? And I'll tell you exactly why I looked at this number. Sometimes people don't dunk the basketball when they're a really athletic guy, and that's part of their game, is because they're working on other parts. Like, okay, well, I need to be a more consistent shooter, or I need to add this piece and part to my game. Now, there's also ways and reasons why people stop dunking the basketball too. It's because you don't have the quickness to blow by people as you once did, and you don't have the ability to explode over people in a very short, compact place in the paint. People forget he's 6'2". A large part of what he is explosiveness. You look at how he's built in his lower body. He's a jumper. He's been in a dunk contest. He's one of the highest leapers in the league. And sometimes when you have some issues, and as we all know, you jump and you got knee injuries. It's not the fact that you get hurt and you tear something. It's just maybe you lose that half a centimeter step. That half a centimeter step as a guard or a defensive back is the difference between you closing on the ball, dunking the ball, blowing by for an easier layup, or that being a contested shot where they're stopping you on your right hand and you got to go back left and change directions. And for me, when you look at those, when he's driving the ball, how many straight line drives does he get where he's taking one dribble, straight line, don't have to stop, and get to the rim?
Yeah.
I don't see it. He's dribbling. He's getting to a spot. They cut him off that way. He has to pump fake, or he said, now granted, trust me, I'm not saying that he's not balling. I'm not saying he's still not him, and I'm not saying that he has lost his athleticism. But when you lose or you injured or lose a step, it shows in 4 to 5 plays, right? Yeah. And these dudes are smart as hell. Trust me. You think they ain't telling Lou Dort, he ain't got it. He can't blow by you. Make him blow by you, right? And until you do that, they're going to play you for certain places on the court.
I don't think you're crazy
I have your
at
dunk
all.
stats real quick if you want them.
What are they? Are they down?
Yeah, so last year he had 18 dunks in 55 games. That was 0.32 dunks per game. This season he has 7 dunks in 38 games. That is 0.18 dunks per game. So from 0.32 down to 0.18.
Now, granted, he's a guard. He's not a big man. You need to be in transition and you need to be out in the break. But I'm judging that by explosiveness. Yeah. I'm just looking at that as explosiveness.
So I don't think you're crazy at all. I remember when when he first started having knee problems.
Yeah.
A lot of the opponents were saying Kobe's not Kobe. He doesn't have the same explosiveness at the rim.
He learned to be different. And
he had to be different.
Why, when he was 40 years old in his last game, he scored 60 points. He didn't score it the way he did when he was 24.
That's exactly. No, not in a completely different way. And that's the thing. So I think, and again, I don't think we're talking about his demise. I think this is a temporary setback. But I do think, and you guys know this, when you have tendonitis, you're prone to have tendonitis again.
Yes.
And I think that we're at that point in the season where the miles are starting to show. So it's got to be a load management situation. They've got to do, and I agree with you. Nice if you can get the number 1 seed. We talked about earlier why that is so important.
Absolutely.
You need to have that extra game at home against the OKCs and the Bostons.
It's not as important as Donovan Mitchell being healthy.
But
I promise you that.
And if you overuse Donovan now and then you lose him for a stretch of 12 to 15 and it happens to be in March or April, now your whole season's wrecked. Save the season. I know that his minutes are down, and I think they've done a really good job in general, team-wide, of their load management. But I think the proof is in the pudding. And, Mike, I hadn't thought that, but when I was watching it last night, I did feel at times that he was kind of going in slow motion, particularly on his drives to the hoop. I thought, wow, he used to just take that guy. He used to just be by him. Well, I didn't see that last night.
We put the montage. He was 0 for 6 at the rim last night.
Wow.
Which dropped his, like you said, we talked it. Steve, you can take this full. Don't even put me on camera.
And Mike, if you're slower getting to the rim, there's more defense around you at the rim.
Even still on some of these, Steve, started from the get-go, like let's start from the very beginning. I'm going to shut up and let you guys talk. These are shots that we've just seen Donovan Mitchell make 100 out of 100 times in the past.
This one right here. This one right here.
That's it. That's the slow one. That's it.
That one.
Yeah.
Yep. Because he gets the dip and under, and he usually makes that easily, and he just was off.
And here's another thing too. Like when you have lift, it makes it you're able to achieve better angles. You're able to move and contort a little better when I got the lift, and I'm not worried about the fray and the trash on the ground. I'm above that, so now I can finish over the top of guys. And you know, like when you look at Donovan Mitchell, and this is why I agree. Jason has said this a lot, and he said it from the beginning. For the Cavs to go where they need to go, Evan Mobley has to be the best player. I believe that Donovan Mitchell is a closer. What you want Donovan Mitchell to do is if you got a short burst of time where, hey, we need to stay in the game, we got Donovan Mitchell for that.
Right.
We need to close you out of a game.
Yeah.
We got Donovan Mitchell for that. But from quarters 2 and 3 in that medium place where you either gain ground or you lose traction, I'm going to Mobley, and if he can dominate and get it where it needs to go, then that's why you got Evan Mobley to be a mismatch. And plus, I think we could compare and contrast it. You look at Darius Garland. Darius Garland, on the other hand, to me, seems to have more juice than he did last year, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
He's finishing much better. You look at the game he had last night, and I know everybody didn't play well, but I thought Darius Garland showed, oh, y'all can't guard me. Like, he played like...
He's their best guy last night.
Right now, I have more confidence when Garland has the ball in his hands that he's going to get a bucket than Donovan.
Yep.
Right now.
And
that's not to say I don't want Donovan taking the last shot.
Yeah. I think he's doing a great job of finding the best shot.
He is.
He's getting either he's going to take it or he's going to get it. And it feels like he's playing at a level where it's like we used to say, hey, oh, you got fresh legs today.
Fresh legs, yeah.
Fresh legs is a thing. When you get older, you start to see dudes, and you're like, oh, listen, look at him coming off injury. He got fresh legs today. and he just getting to his spot. He's doing whatever he wants to right now. But in general, I think Donovan, I'm not going to say he's injured, but I do think that there is some lingering effects of the knee. And if they need to sit him, sit him. That's what you got Darius Garland for. That's what you got a bench for. Like, let's cultivate and continue to grow, but you need him for the playoffs. Let's be clear. If he's playing like this in the playoffs, we ain't got to worry about OKC because they can't beat the Celtics with that. They can't beat the Celtics if Donovan play like that.
And that's part of the luxury of building a 6-game lead for the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference right now. Is that if you do want to give Donovan a little rest, it's not like you're in a neck-and-neck battle at this point, and that would severely hinder your chances.
OKC's going to hit a stretch too.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
100% happens, yeah. And OKC doesn't have a flawless record either, and they've had a couple of losses that you look at and say, how did they lose that game as well? So it's part of basketball. Just something to monitor. I don't want to raise the red flag. I'm not smashing the panic button, but something I noticed that I figured it was worth bringing up to at least ask if I was crazy or you guys were seeing the same things, and it feels like we're all in the
Donovan, if you see McNuggets in the locker room, nah, don't listen. If you see McNuggets, we not saying you fell off, big dog. I'm still with you. You still Donovan Mitchell. I still take you over SGA even though people look at me crazy. You the home team, bro. But listen, it's okay. It's okay. It's just a few games. We right where we need to be. If you need to take a couple of days off, by all means, my man, do it because it's all about the bigger picture.